Welcome back to Tasteland. I am Francis Zierer.
And I'm Daisy Alioto.
And Daisy, who are we speaking with today?
Today we're speaking with Bre Morell. She's one half of the duo Crushed with Sean Durkin. And Crushed has been making music together since they met on the internet in 2022. Their debut EP, Extra Life, came out in 2023. And their follow-up LP, No Scope, came out last year. And both were distributed by friend of the pod show favorite label, Ghostly Records, aka Sam Valenti's label.
Yes. And I should also say, I wrote this little bio. I think they self-released their debut EP first on Bandcamp, and then Ghostly came back and picked it up.
Oh yeah.
And I can't recall if I believe Ghostly published it in 2023.
I think that happens a lot, actually.
Yeah.
And I've been following them since that EP came out. There are a couple tracks on there that I thought were really dope.
Mm-hmm.
Water Lily was one I really like. Coil. And then the song, the first track on No Scope, EXO, that was like
really good.
One of my most played songs this year. It definitely made my Spotify end of year playlist. So not a fake fan, a real fan.
Real fan. How many real fans? How many of us? So last time we podded, I was that evening due to attend the Now Scarred being interviewed by Patricia Lockwood School of Night book 4 of Now Scarred's ongoing series,
and paid $60 to attend.
I paid $60 for the privilege.
60 clams, y'all.
60 clams. and I bought front row to the right of the stage. I'm like, this will be great. And then I sit there. I'm like, I was kind of off to the side.
You had
and
pit.
I had bit.
You were like, guys, let's go to Barricade.
It's two. I did. It's two. It's two chairs. Like set up kind of askew. And so we sit there. I'm like, fuck. Like I really hope that he's in the chair that's facing directly at us and not in the chair where we won't see his face. Thankfully, he does walk out and he sits in that chair. It was fun. I had a good time. I've not read any of Patricia Lockwood's books, and I'm not as familiar with her whole vibe, etc. But yeah, she had this she's 15, 20 years younger than him, something like that, and American. He is Norwegian, shy, funny. But yeah, her demeanor that she brought to the interview was jokey and fun and at first I'm like, is this gonna be not
I was
enough?
surprised by that pairing for that reason.
It worked. I mean, there's some moments where she had some lightning round questions she would sometimes intersperse, such as, okay, prawns or cigarettes? And you obviously know which one he chose. Another time she asked, could you sing us the Norwegian birthday song? And he says, no, but I can sing the Swedish one. And he did, and he belted it out to the whole crowd.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It was really nice. But then we also get some good process insights and how he wrote this book and how he was having trouble trying to write in his 20s, and then he read Proust when he was 26, and then the next summer he was able to write a novel, and he only realized like 10 years later that, oh, of course it's because he digested that, and then he was able to then output his own digested version of that, But yeah, it was really enjoyable, and they gave us all signed copies of the book, which I've already started reading. It's great.
No, it was included in your ticket price.
It was included in the ticket price, so that's
start saving for the Dirt Books launch.
I ran into, actually perfectly on the train home, I ran into a good friend of mine who had not been there, but who I met like 5 years ago or so, because we were at a party and I was going to the bathroom, trying to find the bathroom, and I walk by him talking to somebody else about Now Scarred, and I'm like, oh, I got to get in on this after I go to the bathroom, and I came out, and so that was just perfect, and we rode the train home together because he lives right by me.
What a lovely plot tie-up. He doesn't even have to be on the next season of your life, because they are that little plot point came full circle.
I sure hope he is. He's a good guy.
I love that. Well, I brought something to show you, which is I got a copy of Hell Yeah by Rochelle Termino, who has not been on this podcast, but was on the Desire Question with her husband, Aiden. And this was actually, so this is her new poetry collection, Hell Yeah, from Third Man Books, which is attached to Third Man Records, which is Jack White's record label. And
Okay.
I went to buy it, and actually the regular edition was sold out, so I ended up getting the special edition. And
Was it $60?
no, it wasn't $60. There's a lot of special stuff about it. For example, it's signed. It has these beautiful flaps inside the cover, which help me hold my place, which I'm going
to say too to the listener who can't see this, because I imagine I'm not clipping this. This is the book itself. It's sort of an ecru color, if you will, with large block print, hell yeah, in red, just stretched up and down the cover, like one of those posters where you can't really see what it reads, but then if you put your head like right below it and look up at it, it kind of makes sense. It's this, it's a, we love to judge a book by its cover, and I'm liking the cover.
That's great. And then it came with a small art style print of one of the poems, and knuckle tattoos that say hell yeah. But Rochelle did inform me. Yes, she informed me it takes about half an hour to apply them yourself. So I was like, okay, we're going to save that for a rainy day.
You know what would be a great tie-in? If you go listen to the episode of The Desire Question with her, having already purchased this special edition, apply these knuckle tattoos, and then sit there for half an hour listening to the podcast while not moving your hands.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast is about 35 minutes, so I think you would
perfect.
Would be perfectly timed. But you wanted to say something about Brick.
Yeah, well, we talked about this on the last podcast.
I'm in hot pursuit of the Brick team on LinkedIn, so
well, good. So I'll say that, and we don't want to glaze them really, and I don't want to talk too much more about it.
No, nothing worse than a glazed Brick.
But what I do like is that the ethos of trying to get off your phone is aligned with it as a consumer product, in that I bought it, I used it, I set up my account. My fiance too, I was like, oh, I wonder if you can use this. And she could. She set up her own account, and then she could just tap the brick. So it's a one-time purchase, and then that you don't need to, your account does not have an attachment to this item. You could theoretically use anybody's brick.
How many people per brick? There has to be a limit.
There's not. It's this.
Oh, because you have to tap to it. So
it's just sort of a general
you don't have
button.
like 100 people in your
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would be the same function.
Heard it here first, guys. The whole polycle can use the brick. Portland, Oregon. Shout out. Whole polycle.
But I do like, it is refreshing for a tech app product to be so frictionless as a consumer product, but it also provides that good form of friction of, now I can't look at Instagram.
How do you feel about the aesthetics of the brick? Like, is the brick ugly?
I don't care. You barely see it on my fridge. I'm a person who has a lot of like postcards people have sent and photos and stuff magnetized, attached to my fridge with magnets.
Yes.
And so in this quite colorful collage of ephemera from my life, it sort of disappears, and you really don't see it.
Do you think there's somebody on Etsy who's selling like brick sleeves?
I hope not. I really.
Maybe
let's go. Okay, we gotta stop talking about that until they refund my $60. I feel like we've given them $60. Another $60 thing. No, it was
oh my god, a brick costs the same as seeing Nausgard speed.
Yeah, well, and
it truly is a K-shaped economy.
They did. This event was put on by the Strand, and the guy who came out and introduced it, he did do the pronunciation, which I'm going to attempt now. I think it was something like Karl Ove Knausgard. He also, look, I love a Norwegian accent. His is pretty mild. It's not that bad, but I love the lilting. It's kind of like this.
Oh yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Did you go home and eat some smoked fish?
No. We should say at the top of this that as we record, you are a few days out from a West Coast tour.
Yeah.
But for the listener, this comes out on the 21st, Wednesday. And so the day this comes out, you're playing in Portland. You have just played your first show in Seattle.
Okay, great.
Right? And,
yeah, I'm looking at, I have December pulled out. Let me look at January.
And I think San Francisco's on Friday, LA on Saturday, San Diego on Sunday. So go buy tickets, crushedworldwide.com. If you're listening to this, any of those days, go buy tickets.
Thank you. Yes, please. Please come.
We have to get the plug in at the top. Have you been to any good shows recently yourself that you aren't playing?
God, I was just talking to a friend about this yesterday. I feel like, just in general, stuff slows down over like winter. So, but I'm just like, well, I really haven't been to many shows. Like, I think since Oasis, which was like a long time ago at this point. But we were on tour for like 6 weeks. So I was at a show every single night. So after being at shows for that long, you kind of don't really want to go out to shows when you come home from that,
Yeah.
So I haven't really. I think the last major thing I went to was Oasis, which was the best weekend of my life.
I read that you went to both LA shows.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course I did.
Was it the same vibe both times?
So I had a different experience both times, because night one I was up in like the bleachers with my friends. This is at the Rose Bowl here in LA in Pasadena. But the second night I was down like front and center in the GA. So it was very different experience.
So you had the peasant experience.
Well, wait, which one is the peasant experience?
I think they both are. They're just different types.
I think increasingly good.
I think like night one, being up in the seats, I think I did get lucky. I heard from a lot of friends that like their areas were really tame, so it was a lot more casual enjoyers in the seats. But luckily where we were, the row in front of us was all like a bunch of like Englishmen, like middle-aged Englishmen. Yeah. And behind me was like 10, like 20-year-old Irishmen that flew out just for this. So our section was really lit. And it was great.
Who had a higher percentage of shirts off, the Englishmen or the Irishmen?
Oh, the Irishmen for sure. For sure.
But
night two down in the pit, like just shirts were off, beer in the air. It was chaos.
Glorious. I was going to say, the older I get, the more inclined I am for a seated show, though I guess it depends on the artist a little bit. But I do, well, I went to one of the last seated shows I do remember going to was maybe a year and a half ago now, but it was Andre 3000 touring with his flute act, which was really fun. But it was in this older theater in Brooklyn. It was at BAM, Brooklyn Academy of Music. And I'm like 6'2", and it's these old theaters are it's like being in an airplane. It's like being on a flight. So this there's the rub, but it was nice to sit. I like a bleacher.
Depends on the show, I think. I'm glad I got to have the experience of both. Being in the pit 2 nights in a row, like probably would have took me out. Actually, even just doing it once took me out. I was like sick for like 2 weeks after.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Worth it. I do it again right now.
The story reminded me of an experience I had in Berlin. I'm currently working on a book with my friend Lauren about her time on Warped Tour. Ooh. And I didn't know her when she was in like her peak Warped Tour era, but I did get close to her when she was living in Berlin, and she was bartending, and the bar she was at was near Berghain. So everyone who didn't get in would come to this bar. And it was a very motley crew. And when I was visiting her, she was still working. And so I would come with her to the bar. It was a karaoke bar. And I would just have these like side adventures all night with whoever came in. And then we would leave together when she closed at like 3 or 4 a.m. and go back to her apartment. And it was just like such a funny way to experience a city, because I didn't do a ton of tourism. I kind of just like had these like weird experiences in the bar. And one night an Irish bachelor party came in and I did karaoke with them. And that was like that experience sort of reminded me of that.
That's cool. I love that.
Daisy, what did you sing?
Well, my karaoke song is You're So Vain by Carly Simon, which you already know, but thank you for asking.
Look, it's been a while since we brought it up.
You didn't know if I changed. I switched up on my day one. No, never switch up on your day ones. Bre, do you have a karaoke song?
It totally depends. Yeah, very much depends, because I would be inclined to do like country or Selena, but depending on the part of the world that you're in, that could just be a total flop, Yeah. Because you got to pick a song that everybody will sing along to. I don't want to be the only one singing,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you, I saw in one of your interviews that you like to buy stuff off of eBay. I have a lot of friends who are like very good at finding stuff on eBay, and they enter what I would like to call the eBay flow state. So I wanted to ask you, like, what is your eBay flow state, and like, what is the best thing that you've ever found after being in flow state?
Oh my gosh. I mean, my flow state is just having my specific like searches like saved, you know, like having, I've got a whole list of saved searches and I just check up on them every now and then. I love to do eBay window shopping. Like of course I've bought a lot of things, but it's just as much fun to look and see what's out there, you know?
Yeah.
I have a saved search on the specific boombox that I had as a kid. That I still haven't pulled the trigger on because the ones that keep showing up, it's very rare, but when they do, they just aren't in the best shape. So I'm trying to find the perfect one. That will be probably one of my ultimate purchases whenever that happens. Because I'm so glad I finally found out what the specific model was. It's like a metallic lavender. It's very round, you know, very 90s. I finally found an old photo where I could see it in the background in my room, and a friend of mine helped me figure out what it was. And so
oh my God, your friend is like Shazam for vintage
he
electronics.
really is. He was like, give me a few minutes, I got it. And then he did. I was like, oh my God. Shout out to
It's like
KK.
the GeoGuessr guy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what a great recent purchase was. I don't know. My favorite saved search that I check up on the most is vintage Parappa the Rapper merchandise. Here, I've got a toy sitting right here. This was a gift recently for my birthday from a friend.
Oh my
he
God.
dances. He winds up right here.
Ooh, wait. The sound is do the sound of the mic.
He kind of looks like Spinelli from Research. Doesn't he look like Spinelli a little bit?
I love him. But all of the merch is from Japan. You know, it's like Japan exclusive from the 90s. So it's very hard to find. The shipping is expensive, and the toys are so expensive now.
Especially with the tariffs now. So my fiance has been ordering some bits of fabric and stuff from around the world, and one came from eBay, and the UPS guy is like, no, I need a check for $62. I'm like, is there like something I can tap to pay?
A
no, I need a check for $62. So I had to come in, write a check for $62.19 or whatever it was. A check. It's a good thing I have a checkbook.
I don't even know where I have one somewhere, I think.
I only have it. My current landlord, I do have to send checks, which it had been years since that was the case, but I do have to write checks. I did just receive an eBay purchase today that I ordered recently. Last week I was bidding on a sweater, and then I got sniped at the end, and so I had the desire to purchase something on eBay that day, and so what I bought was this art book, Early American Tools, I think it is, by Hans Nemeth, which I found. The measure of this rabbit hole was I saw some newsletter or something that was like, look at this vintage Leo Castelli gallery poster for some exhibition. I forget the artist. I was like, oh, that's cool. I wonder if I can find one that isn't $800 for a poster. And so I just looked up like Leo Castelli gallery posters, and I found one that was $80 for a beat up poster, and I said, I really can't justify that. And anyways,
what's your favorite early American tool, Francis?
Well, the poster is this great set of scissors, and that's not what I have here, but I do have, actually within arm's reach of me, two kind of rusty tools that I really like. So we have this metal compass. Maybe producer Tom will clip this metal compass that I really love. Yeah. And then the other one, I don't know what these are for, but I have a smaller one of these as well. This bendy wrench.
Whoa. The bendy wrench goes pretty hard, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
awesome,
I love that. Wow.
Yeah, I have no idea what the function is.
So Francis actually grew up on a farm, so him being into like rusty tools is a little bit less of a LARP than you might expect from a man that lives in.
I'm from Texas, so I've seen it all. I've seen this before.
Bendy wrench.
This is normal.
Get it out here.
I'm not handy. I'm not handy. I don't know what that. I've never used that compass. It just sits in my pen.
That's great. I wanted to ask you because I'm really glad that boombox, like what popped into my head was exactly what you were describing, and I know that like when you and Sean were first connecting, like some of the songs that you were connecting over as you were feeling out like forming a group together come from this sort of like late 90s period. And I've been really fascinated by the 90s nostalgia that's happening right now, especially like that specific time period, like right on the cusp of the new millennium, where like I remember being a kid, like I remember the excitement of it. And then the specific sound of music that was like right in that cusp period where everything had this a little bit of like an uncanny feeling of the future, whether it was like sampling in global music that sounded really unusual to like a kid's ears, or even like Dido has a little bit of this kind of like uncanny futuristic sound. And I'm kind of obsessed with these like YouTube comments and TikTok comments of people who are around the same age as me, because they'll talk about like, yeah, like I used to like be in the backseat of my dad's car and he would play this and I'd be like looking at the moon and I would be like a little scared and I wouldn't know why, and like, or like just being like 11 and afraid of Portishead, you know, because it's just like, it sounds like, you know, it kind of sounds like the unknown, and everyone was telling you like it's going to be a new millennium. And we're like, what does it mean? And so there was like kind of like the two aesthetics of that. There's like on the one side, and maybe this is like where like Torn kind of comes in, and the Barely Breathing was a Dunkin' Shake. Like the one side, which is like the Global Village coffee house and like old Starbucks look. And then simultaneously, there was kind of that like blue, clear electronics, like cybercore look, like coexisting. Mm-hmm. And they kind of represented like two very different visions of the future, which was like, okay, everyone like all together in like one world. And the other one was kind of like everyone all together like in space online, and it's so like rootless and placeless. And I thought it was really cool that like you guys are inspired by music that I associate with like both of those. And that also like the aesthetics for No Scope, at least like the music video is like kind of has like that blue tint to it that I associate with that time period. And I was curious if you were thinking about that when you were putting that together.
I mean, I think those were like the late 90s, obviously early 2000s were my most formative years, you know, and that's when I started to become really aware of music and style and fashion. And like, that was just, I know there's bias because we grew up with it, but it was the coolest. It's never been cooler, you know, like the future was like very exciting. The technology was exciting. There was so much possibility and optimism, I think, like technological optimism. But then there was also like, you know, the global coffee house and like the warmth of, it was just the edge of the internet kind of taking over, right? So there was still, we kind of had community, but then also like this excitement about the possibility of future and technology. So I think, just being in that time period, you kind of lived through both of those things. So they just subconsciously influence everything that I do, but I was obsessed and still am. The other thing that I collect actually is clear electronics. I've got another one right here. This is actually new. So I'm so glad that this stuff is coming back. But I bought this when we were on tour recently. It is a clear pink Tamagotchi.
It's perfect.
And I bought this at Best Buy like a few months ago. So I'm so glad that this stuff is like coming back.
I totally thought that was going to be like a flea market find.
No, that's another eBay search for me is clear electronics. But no, that stuff is just always like, I've just been obsessed with it my whole life, obviously. And I think the thing, at least to me, when like right now, like you said, like the 90s obsession is like so massive. I view it as like, as soon as the children of the 90s are old enough to create the things that they wish they wanted to participate in, that's like how trend cycles work to me, I think. So it's like, I'm now old enough to get to make and be all the things that I like wished I could have been as a kid that I couldn't, you know. I was obsessed with platform boots as a kid. I wanted to dress like Baby Spice. I couldn't. I was 8 years old, but now I can. And so now you would have to pry these platform boots off of my feet, you know, like I will be buried with them. So it's like those things. Now I can make the icy blue music video and, you know, breakbeat loops and, you know, and I do have another story. Saying that you were scared of Portishead reminded me of something like something related to my boombox, actually. And I keep meaning to like write up like make like a kind of written post of some kind about this, but like one of my core memories of like getting into music that I'm still into today was growing up as a kid in Houston with my little boombox. I was always a night owl. Like I couldn't, it would be bedtime, but I would just like have my radio at like volume 1 and just like listening. And I found, I can't remember what it's called. I did some research and I actually found like some recordings of this radio program that would be late night, like I think on Fridays or Saturdays on 104 KRBE, which is still like the hit station in Houston, like the top 40, you know. But for some reason at like midnight on Fridays or Saturdays, they would broadcast live from this like nightclub. And it was just like dance music and like techno. And so I remember just being like scared, but excited and just like, this is what being an adult is listening to this like crazy, like cyber rave music, you know? And a song that they would remix or like play the remix version of often was Sneaker Pimps. Which song? Spin Sugar. And so whenever I hear them or that song, I think of like that. And I actually found like in the like recording that I found on YouTube that somebody preserved one of these shows, it has that remix in it, which is so sick. But yeah, I definitely felt the same. I was like so scared, like I shouldn't be listening to this, but just like imagining what the adults were getting up to that were listening to that music, you know?
This reminds me in college, when I was starting to expand my music tastes more rapidly than I had in high school. In high school,
Francis went to college in Portland, so it's actually good Sean's not here because we would have to talk about Portland for an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank God.
But I'm from Northern California, and so I was in high school 2009 to 2012, 2008 to 2012, and at the time, Skrillex, dubstep, Datsik, this kind of thing was what we were into. And so as I'm in college, starting to get into older electronic music, house music, techno, European varieties of these, I remember going onto Resident Advisor and feeling like I'd like walked into a room where the adults were and I wasn't supposed to be there, and I was intimidated by how intellectual the music felt. And I just didn't really understand. It took me years to be able to go back and say, oh, okay, I do get this, and I do understand this, and I don't feel dumb when I read the word IDM. Yeah.
No, I totally. Those were your college years. Mine were the same, or I was 2009 to 13, and
those are my high school years. Yeah.
Okay.
You and I are the same age. I graduated high school in 2009 and college in 2013.
Cool. Yeah. I moved to Austin for college, which was like life changing.
Austin was still weird then.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a good way. I wish it was blurred.
Yes. It was, I got the last few good years of Austin, but I grew up in the suburbs of Houston where I didn't get to do anything or go to shows or anything. So when I moved to Austin, it was like, I could do whatever I wanted. But then I met people that liked the same music as me. And I also found myself like, more of my formative experiences or like discovering music were in like, did you ever use rateyourmusic.com? Because that's how okay. It was kind of like I like a letterbox, but it still exists. But I think they redid the website. Okay, yeah. Similar? But Last FM was more of like tracking your listens, right? Could you write about music? Maybe you could.
No, I didn't. It was more to like know what I listened to.
Yeah,
scrobbling was what they called it.
Right. Yeah. Rate Your Music was more about like reviews and lists and like you could follow your friends or whatever. And it also felt just like I was like the kid in the room with the adults and just trying to learn trying to find like obscure music or, and just feeling like I was so out of place and, how they spoke about music and the stuff that they listened to. But I definitely discovered a lot of really important music there also, and in message boards and stuff.
Yeah, but tell me about the message boards. I'm curious, like what kind of nostalgic corners of the internet were you into? Like, were you on Neopets? Were you on Club Penguin? Like,
oh, I was on Neopets.
Yes,
girl, I still am.
Okay, say more.
It's still the exact same. And
what's your favorite omelet?
Jelly omelet.
Yeah, jelly omelet.
My fixation, again, similar to my clear electronic obsession, I would collect the jelly items on Neopets. But I was like on a random nostalgia kick. I feel like during COVID is kind of when I went, as I'm sure a lot of us did, like spiraled deep into like nostalgic stuff from my childhood, especially like online, like internet stuff, because I was such a computer kid, internet kid. And all of a sudden I had all the time in the world. So I started like, oh, what about Neopets? And I found my way into like my old account and everything. But anyways, that's definitely one of them. I mean, that was probably the first website that I used, because it came out in like what, 97, 98 or something like that. Neopets for sure. Something that I'm so sad that I've talked about. They've been wiped from the internet now, or the message boards that I was the most active in that really shaped me for better or for worse were like Radiohead fan message boards. There was a couple of huge ones, and they were some of the biggest message boards on the English internet, which is crazy. They're just completely gone now. Like they stopped paying for the hosting. But
were you honest about being a teenager? Were you like, hello, fellow divorced dads?
I was always very like private or like anonymous, but like I think, I wouldn't share any personal information, but I think people knew like my username. Obviously, I don't think I ever really gave out my real name, and then like my age and like my, lived in Houston. Never anything more than that. I was a very paranoid child, thankfully. I definitely felt like the kid, because I was the kid in the room of divorced dads.
Yeah.
But this is the 2000s, so they're, probably in their 20s, where I was like 15, but that is...
Hey, you could be a divorced dad in your 20s,
True, that's very true. There was like half of the board was split in two. The one that I was on, that was called Mortigi Tempo. Half of it was all just about Radiohead, and the other half was anything but Radiohead. And so that was where the cool kids were, and that is where people would talk about all the other music that they were into, and that really was very life-changing, truly, for me, because I would just be like, it was the point in my life where I was like, I just wanted to consume every piece of music that I'd never heard before. If I saw album art and I didn't know what it was, I had to listen to it, because I just wanted to absorb everything. And so I would just sit there all night and just, discovered all kinds of crazy stuff that way earlier than maybe, you typically discover like William Basinski and, whatever, so I was like, became really into him at 15, and which is kind of random, but I'm so thankful for stuff like that,
I didn't find my own way to the loops until I was like 20.
Yeah, I really had a lot of holes in my experimental music knowledge until quite
just
late
like
in
the tapes when they disintegrated.
I remember, I think I was like 23 when I had a boyfriend that told me about Brian Eno. But you know what? We all get there.
Yeah, we got there.
I'm picturing a like a limited edition jelly-filled vinyl of No Scope, and I would love that. Really bringing me a lot.
The No
of
Scope
pleasure.
vinyl is green, right?
It is, yeah.
It's beautiful, but it's not filled with jelly. I'm going to text Sam after this and tell him that this needs to happen.
Please do, yeah.
You also have talked about video games. I know that's something like you and Sean had also connected over. I'm not much of a gamer, but Francis is. And I'm curious, like what you've been playing recently, and also have there been any samples or anything from the soundtracks of like video games that have actually influenced the musical sound?
1,000%, yes. We've been advised to stop saying what they are.
Okay, understood.
But I will say that like we've never taken samples from music or video games that like dictate the sound of a song. It's more for us of like detail. Easter eggs and texture. So we pick things out that aren't really recognizable unless you're like a crazy like nerd. And there are a few on the EP and the record that are totally clockable, but like probably not like I know what it is and it stands out to me. But I would say, none of them are like dictating the music. But for me personally, a game that I've played recently and have been fixated on musically lately is Silent Hill, which I'd never played until recently. I'm not a horror game or movie person at all, but someone put me on to the soundtrack, specifically of the second and third ones, and I was just like, are you kidding me? It's like very influenced by Portishead. It's like dark, nasty kind of trip hop. And it's so good to the point that I'm like, well, I got to try to play the game. So I don't want to be a poser, because I'm, and I actually really love the game too. So Akira Yamaoka does the music for those games, but also I think does most, if not all of the sound effects. So it's like all very cohesive. And it's just incredible. And so that has been a huge influence on me musically for sure. Games I'm playing recently, I guess just Silent Hill. I've been like really craving a new game to play, to be honest, which is like always happens. But I've been thinking about starting Elden Ring again, but that just feels like self-harm. So
that's the last one that I really played a lot of. I had not been gaming for many years, and then in the pandemic, I got a PS4. It was when the PS5 came out, but I couldn't afford to buy. They were like $800, $900. I'm not gonna pay that. But then I did play a lot of Elden Ring when it came out, and then after that, I started petering out of my current iteration of being a gamer, because all the games I wanted to play are, the big, expansive, open world.
Yeah.
And then I play a little bit of it, and I think, I don't have 120 hours to do this, and I'm such a completionist with video games. So the last one I think that I then set down is I was playing Death Stranding, the original Death Stranding, and it was so fun. But then I was like, I don't think I can commit the next couple months of my life to.
I love to commit all of my free time to a video game. Death Stranding has been on my list to play next. I haven't played those before, and I think I'll love it.
I really like it. I mean, it's such. Yeah, I hate that I'm gonna say this. It's such a vibe. It's so moody. The atmosphere. You're in there. The rain. That you're just kind of walking around slowly, and it's so tedious. Like, I love that.
That sounds just like perfectly up my alley. My younger brother played it and was complaining to me about it, but all of his complaints were, I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome to me. My favorite thing to do in a video game, and like Elden Ring, for example, is just to walk around. I just love to walk around and explore. Yeah, and I think that's like the majority of that game is walking. So I think I'll try that one next. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Do your gaming habits change if you're like on tour versus not on tour?
Absolutely.
On tour?
We did bring the Switch, and there will be multiple Switches in the van next week. But it totally changes because I am a PC gamer. So right now I have a weird setup right now. I need a new webcam very badly, as you can probably tell. I have like my 2 monitors and like my whole like custom built PC going on. So I kind of don't like playing anything unless I can play it on my PC. But on tour, obviously, I often, which is silly, bring my Switch and then end up not even really touching it for some reason. I always just want to like play on my phone. So my tour obsession, as my bandmates would attest to, is that I was playing Balatro like every day in the van, which I highly recommend. It is a card game. It took me a while because it won like, I think, one game of the year that year. And I was just like, and everybody was freaking out over it. And I'm just like, it's a card game. It can't be like, why is everyone so? But then I was at my brother's, and he has a Steam Deck, and he had Balatro on his Steam Deck. And I was like, okay, well, let me just try it out. So I'm not having to pay for it. I'll try it. And immediately I was like, oh,
is it like a poker variant?
It is poker on like crack. It is insane. It's hard to even explain. It's just like, it is not a real card game. I don't even truly know how to explain it to you. It's like it's so much fun. I can't recommend it enough. Everybody that I've gotten to play it, also, because it's very highly addictive too. So I have to warn, but it's very fun. It's so much fun. So that was my tour.
Who drives
obsession.
the van?
We all do.
Take turns?
We all take turns. Yeah.
Who's the best driver?
Me, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Texans are great.
Since nobody else is here, it's me.
Texas is the only place I've ever driven 100 miles per hour.
Texas has the only. Did you say Texans are great drivers? Well, maybe we have developed our skills because it's the craziest place in the country to drive. It is the scariest drivers are there, and that's where I learned to drive. So. Yeah,
you're defensive.
Maybe that's
you're ready for anything.
I'm literally ready for anything.
Shadowboxing on the road.
I moved from Portland to New Orleans 9 years ago. 9 years ago, and I remember we drove through Houston, and like when we get onto the highways I'd never been on highways that wide, and I was kind of freaked out. I didn't really know what to do. It's like I like on a normal road, you kind of know where the walls are, where the edges are. There's 2 lanes. I can't go further that way. But here, it's like I'm in like the fourth of 10 lanes. I just don't really know which, if I go left or right, should I get over? Is this the slow?
And then the biggest truck you've ever seen in your life will just cut across all of the lanes right in front of you. Like exactly. It is
like going fully what's
just diagonal.
Yeah. Perpendicular,
totally perpendicular to the road. Yeah, insane.
It's so insane. Yeah, I think I'm very thankful that everybody in the van is a great driver. That's very important. You don't want to have someone that sucks or is a scary driver, because then I'm just like on edge the whole time, you know. All great drivers.
Y'all have toured a few times now, right? What are you gonna say?
Kind of, yeah. This was our first like real tour, but it was long as hell. So,
which city or cities have been the most amenable to your shows?
You know, I will say we haven't played a lot of places twice, but like New York has been great every time. I guess we've played New York like 3 times. It feels like cheating to say LA or New York, but because they both are like hometown shows for us kind of also. Like Sean lived in New York for a very long time. But also like most of my oldest friends from Texas live in New York. And so playing in New York feels almost more of a hometown show than like playing in Texas does for me. It's like so overwhelming in a good way, because it's like so many of my oldest friends that I haven't seen that I don't get to see very often. So New York is always really fun and great.
You played Nightclub 101 last time.
We played
right?
Nightclub 101 last time we were there. We were, it was a support tour that we just did, and we opened for Cafune at Music Hall of Williamsburg.
I've been there once. I saw
it was awesome. Yeah,
Safe Mind there.
Cool. Yeah, that was a really fun show. I'm trying to think of another city that really was great. I don't know. The whole tour that we just did was so much fun. Like really.
Did you develop any rituals? Do you have any schisms around like fast food and like where's the best place to get like to stop for some junk is? Because I can imagine that would be really hard if you guys weren't.
Of course, because I am vegan, so I have to know what, and I do. I have like, you know, in my head like a list, and luckily my friend Alvin, who plays with us on in our live band, he plays second guitar. He's vegan also, so we're always just like scoping out where we can go. Yeah.
what's like the gas station pickup in the middle of the road?
It's so tough. It totally depends on where you are. There's so many options nowadays, so it's really actually not like the first tour that I went on was not that long ago, like 2018. But even
was this your previous band?
My previous band, Temple of Angels. Yeah. It's eating as a vegan on tour then to now is like completely different. Like you know, so it's like so much easier now.
You're like,
what is my
chips,
gas station?
Yummy.
I'm a huge Diet Coke drinker, so that's if we're stopping, I'm probably getting a Diet Coke. There you go. Surprise! I don't have one right now.
Breakfast. It's a complete meal. I have a full fat Coke, but
nice,
crazy
lovely.
For that.
What is my go-to snack? I love spicy chips, so anything spicy.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big candy person.
Do you like Takis?
Oh yeah, Takis are great. Yeah, I love a Taki, but they're crazy. I have to really be in the mood for a Taki.
It's an immersive experience.
It really is.
Like it's you know.
I do love though, like the best part of specifically going out of the country, like even just to Canada or like we spent a week in the UK. I mean, the funnest part to me is like trying out different snacks and drinks that you can't find here. And then also I love going to like the pharmacies and like checking out like the local like skincare and makeup brands. And like I love that stuff. It's so much. That's my favorite part.
My fiance and I have been going to Berlin like once a year for the past few years, and she is obsessed with the pharmacies there. There's like a specific like, you know, sleep aid pill that's like better than melatonin there. She always like, she has to go, and then like the night before we leave, she's like, oh, I got to go pick up my things, and she'll go spend like $100.
That's so
just
sick.
Like run-of-the-mill pharmacy stuff that they don't have here, which she was researching. A big thing, the sunscreens in other countries are so much better. The regulation around the chemicals that they put in sunscreens are years behind in America. So the sunscreen in pretty much any other country you can go to is so much better than what you can get here.
Okay,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow over here. Well, I know, so speaking of the UK, I know that there's some like, you know, Manchester bands that like really influenced your sound, but are there kind of contemporaries and peers in the UK right now that you're following closely or like developing relationships with?
We both love Realize so much. I don't know if you guys have heard them before. They just put out a really great record this past year. And
Didn't they do a remix?
They did, yeah. So I think Sean has known them for a while, like from his previous band Weekend. I'm not sure how they met or I don't remember, but yeah, they did a remix for our song Water Lily when Ghostly pressed our EP on vinyl, and it was like one of the most special moments for me because it's always been a dream of mine to like sing on like a dance track, or to hear my music like remixed in that way. And so I was so excited when they agreed to do it, and when I heard it for the first time, I was just like ecstatic. And whenever I hear it still, makes me so happy. It's so cool. But they're amazing. And I love them so much.
I've been following Bar Italia, but I don't know if they're like, that's a sound that resonates with you, but it's been interesting to see that come up. It's hard to quantify, I think, or I guess hard to put them into one genre, which is true of so much of the best music right now. And like, I know you guys have joked about like never beating the shoegaze allegations. And I was thinking like coming on the podcast, I was like, you know what? I don't even have a working definition of shoegaze. I don't even feel like I have a working definition of like dream pop. Like, what does that even mean? And I think it's better that way, because once you try to put stuff in boxes, like it's very difficult for the sound to evolve naturally.
I think if people can't, like, if there's not a consensus on how to describe your music, for me, I feel like I'm winning, because all of my favorite, the most iconic artists of my life can't really be put, they like blend genres and continue, like have explored many different sounds throughout their entire careers. And I think that's a sign of like a really timeless artist, which is what I, hope to make, is like kind of timeless music that's not like really rooted in one specific genre, but yeah, but then the other side of that is when people are like, oh, what does your band sound like? I'm just like, I don't know. I just say pop music, but I wish I had a better way to explain.
There was I read this interview y'all did with Pace magazine, and there was something Sean said there that I wrote down. I'm just going to read like a couple snippets of it, not the whole thing, but you said, to make music that truly lasts, you have to have one foot in the past and one in the future, Durkin argued, because songs at their core are timeless. It's the production that dates the art. The songs from the 90s weren't popular on the radio because they sound like the 90s. They were massive songs that millions of people related to. And the way you do that is by writing them in an amazing way. I really like that. As like
Sean said that?
Well, some of it he said, some of it the writer wrote. But
okay. I was like, oh, that's a good job, Sean. That's a good quote.
No, but I really like that, of like, the idea that like then you can cover a song. Like I'm thinking of what's that guy, the country singer who like covered Fast Car a year or two ago?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really cool.
It wasn't
and
Zach Bryan, but it was.
It's another guy. But like he's doing it in his own way. It might have been like a Luke Bryan or something, but it just sounded really good. And it's like
too many Bryans.
Yes,
Bryans all the way down.
Too many Bryans. But that you can, I don't know. I like this idea that like a song covered at a later date with the production trappings of a different era, if it can stand up because of the skill craft of those particular musicians, like that is a measure of a really good and timeless song.
I mean, Absolutely. Would we like the Cocteau Twins as much if we knew what they were saying? Personally, no. I never want to know.
We don't. Although it's none of my business what she's saying.
I like the clip where it's like where there's like a YouTube clip and it's like section like she's saying like, can my nuts hang? And it's obviously not what she's saying, but I do like to send that back.
That unfortunately, that has literally, it's in my head every time I listen to that song. It pisses me off so much.
Yeah,
it's too good.
The music that I most wanted to listen to after like re-listening to your recent to the last album in advance of this interview was CFCF Memoryland. Do you know that album?
No, I don't.
Maybe you don't need to listen to it then, because I'm like, it's sometimes unfair, I feel like, to compare somebody's music to other music. But there's a bit of that overlap of like grabbing on some of these 90s nostalgia bits. Like they would go next to each other in a mix perfectly. I'm sure somebody has done that. CFCF.
I was thinking about that nostalgia thing and the sort of like uncanny Millennium Cuss music. And there was this really great line. And like the profile that Matt Mitchell did of you guys, I think it's also the Paste. Piece,
yeah.
Yeah, he said when television kids became internet adults. And I'm like, wow, that was like such a moment, because this generation under us, they never got to be television kids. They were always internet kids. They never knew the experience of switching from one to another and evolving. And I thought that was so interesting. And I was also listening to No Scope, and then I immediately switched to personally what I think is the most uncanny Millennium song, which is Desert Rose by Sting, where he's doing like that weird yodel. And he's like, hey. As a kid, I was like, what is happening? I'm scared. My parents are divorced and this guy's yodeling at me.
I've been in many a situation a few times where it's like, 1 a.m. music videos come out type of end of the night.
Of course.
And that's gone up on the TV.
Somebody throws on Desert Rose.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw that on right after.
Is that what it's called? Desert Rose, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, Seal also came out with like Kiss from a Rose around the same time. Sometimes my brain gets them mixed up. Bre, thank you so much for coming on. This was a blast.
Thank you for having me.
A trip down memory lane. I want to go play Neopets now.
Let me know if you want my username. We can be friends.
Okay, perfect.
Cheers. Perfect. Listener, we'll see you next week.